my God.
Hey,
I have
David.
virtual hands
Hey.
on your girl.
You shouldn't even have any kind of hands. You can look at her, but you can't touch her. You
Hey,
can't
Oh,
touch her.
she's beautiful. She is.
She's
Yeah.
very
yeah,
beautiful, and you
definitely.
can't touch her. Okay. So, folks, this is a subject that I think some of you maybe have not have happened to you, but you know it had happened to some other people where coaches get too much involved into the personal lives or relationships. I'm gonna pull this video. And this is really what got my attention to was a lady who I follow on social media. One of the clients I interviewed a while back. She just got her Olympic qualification. I got to meet her name is Aline Alvarez. I got to meet her while I was in Tampa and we did an interview after that. And this is her coach is excuse me, Loretta. If you know Loretta, she's been in the game quite some time. She even competed in the bodybuilder. She's Loretta Riley. She goes by Body by Loretta. This is a picture right here, her from that looked like back in the day. And she's a coach, and her client here, Elaine Alvarez, just got her first Olympic qualification figure. She was competing the last couple of years in women's physique, but she made the switch to figure. This surprised her. I mean, she beat a couple ladies who just the weekend before did the Toronto Super Show, were in the top three this show, and that's congratulations to her.
I'm actually interviewing Eileen on Tuesday. So, and we had tried to get an interview several months ago. So I'm finally glad it finally worked out. But really proud of her for getting her Olympia qualification and switching to figure was a good move for her.
That's where she got a pro card in figure, but then she started competing in physique. And I think the last show was Tampa back in 2025. I think she was in maybe the higher top 15. I mean, it was a deep line. Yeah,
She was fifth.
she was fifth.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I forget what happened. I think figure. But yeah, she was okay. But anyway, her coach, she's a very popular coach. She has quite a few clients. Some competed also that weekend, and she talks about something I think that really got my attention about. And I think this is something I think we need to be talking more in the sport. So is Lolita.
Hey, IG. Just got out of a massage. Oh my God. That was a Swedish massage, they call it. Very good. Very good. I enjoyed it. 80 minutes. Thank you, Lucas. Um, okay, let me get to the point. I'm gonna vent here a little now. I'm gonna vent. I'm sick and tired of women coming into my office telling me of their experience, their bad experience that they had with their coaches, and let me say trainers too, not just coaches, trainers who feel that they have to sleep with their clients, they have to sleep with their athletes. It's really putting a bad light on the industry. It's shining a bad light on the industry, people. This gotta stop. Okay? You guys have to become more professional than that. Of all the ladies in the world, you want to sleep with your clients, the ones who are bringing you money. So you're trying to mess up your money? Is that what it is? Because if I was sleeping with my trainer, there's no way I would be paying. So you guys messing up your income. It is so unprofessional. I had this week alone, and I mean the week is just half. I've had at least 4 girls telling me of their experience. One of them said to me, I'm so glad I found you. I had a problem finding a female coach. I'm so glad somebody referred you to me because I've had 4 coaches, 4 male coaches. Haven't made it to stage yet because I have to be jumping from one to the next. They're trying to take me to bed. They have been after me aggressively. So I switched one, I switched to the next one, it was the same thing. I switched to another one, it was the same thing. So I'm so happy. Let me finally start my journey to the stage because I've been trying for a year and a half and never made it. That's sad, people. That's sad. Trainers, you need to control yourself, please. It's bad. Control yourselves. And the sad part about it, most of you are in serious relationships and married and still doing it. Check yourselves. These ladies need to start exposing these coaches and these trainers. That's what they need to do. Expose them. Start calling their names, right? I didn't even want to know the names of these coaches that I was being told about, because I know me, and I said to them, I don't want to hear who it is. You know yourselves, govern yourselves.
She
Hey,
killed
IG.
she put a fine good point of that because this is a money business, coaching. She has quite a few clients here, a mix from everything from uh, wellness to figure to physique to men's classic. I mean, impressive lineup. I mean, and this is her client, Elaine. She's now qualified for the Olympia, and she really put into work. I mean, you know, I think it fits her division. She has some great set of abs. I, you know, um, again, I want to get everybody's thought on this. So, what they thought, or have they ever heard or seen something like this? So, since again, it's a channel about the ladies, I go with you, Beverly, because we talk about this, often, um, on the phone or just online.
Um, that's a double-edged sword too, because if you're a trainer and you happen to have a client that y'all both like each other and you're both single, I don't see a problem with it. I mean, you have to be careful with that though. I mean, you have to establish first to everybody else that you and that person are in a exclusive relationship, so there won't be rumors going out that hey, this person slept with you. But on the flip side of that, thankfully I've never experienced that. Everybody I've ever dealt with has been very professional, but then they see my husband. But other than that, they've been professional and they have treated me accordingly. But I do know of people that have experienced that, and it's not a pretty situation. um I think as women, and I'm just speaking, I guess I shouldn't say all women, I'm just going to say for myself. As women, you have to establish boundaries with people because, I mean, that goes for a job or anywhere. You're going to run across men that are going to try to, get with you. You have to go in with a professional attitude like, look, I'm paying you to train me to do XYZ. Nothing more, nothing else. Now, if the person keeps crossing the line, I feel that you either need to make an executive decision to tell that person you're going to expose them or you go get another coach. I think that's how I feel about it. I, it's a double-edged sword on that one.
Mhm. Well, next up is being that you are OCB Pro, and you've been around for quite some time. What's your thoughts on Nicole?
Um, well, my coach is a woman, and most of my posing coach is a woman. Um, Tina, she's my posing coach. Sam is my everything, my bodybuilding. She's my everything coach. We've been together for a long time. I prefer a woman only because a woman knows what a woman's body goes through, and especially in like bodybuilding, everything is like, especially now I'm going through perimenopause. Like I feel everything. Like my body's going through so many changes, and like Sam, my coach, is experienced. She works with middle-aged women who are probably going through menopause or perimenopause. So I handpicked my coach for that reason. So I've never experienced that with I don't do it. I just don't deal with male coaches for that reason. I just feel like a woman knows a woman's body better. And she's also Sam is a professional bodybuilder. But I think that behavior is unacceptable. Like you said, like the coach was saying, why would you mess with your money like that? You don't want to you don't want to develop a reputation for being a coach that hits on women. You know what I'm saying? It's like I think it's bad for business. I think it's bad for the industry. Um, like Bev said, yeah, you really have to set boundaries with people because but you can't help it if a person's gonna try and hit on you. It is what it is. but you got to be sure to set boundaries. And if they don't like it, then they just don't like it, you know? So I'm happy I've never experienced that. Um, but yeah, I think I don't like it. I think it's bad and it's unprofessional. You know, now yeah, but bodybuilding is such a small world. You always run into somebody that you know, even if it's like years later. You always bump into somebody that you know, or you know somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody. So it's just like it's such a tight. You think it's not that big. You know, people know and people talk, so it's just like
Oh
I don't
yeah.
know. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I
They
just think
do.
it's yep. I just think it's bad for business all around. And you shouldn't do that. So
Mhm.
that's my
Yeah.
personal opinion.
I
Well,
have a
David.
male coach, so I looked out. He's great. He's not like that. He's got a
Mhm.
pretty good. He's pretty blunt, and I love that about him. But I just feel as a female now, and I'll let you talk to David. We'll go more into it later. I'll tell
Okay.
you.
Well, yeah, appreciate that. Anyway, David, as you know, we are content makers, and we often have women talk to us and tell us stuff, and we hear
Mhm.
stuff here and there. And I want to get his thoughts on it too, because we see things and we hear things, but these
Hmm.
ladies want to keep our confidence. When they tell us something, we keep their confidence because we don't want to put this shit on Front Street.
Yeah, no, I haven't, since I started the podcast, I haven't heard too many ladies talk about this problem, but I have talked, privately with some who've had this issue. And yeah, I agree. Especially when there's money involved and you're supposed to be a professional and you're supposed to be helping these people um, for them. One thing that kind of pisses me off is hearing about coaches that demand topless or nude photos, and
Oh
there's
my
really no
goodness.
need for that, and
Yeah, there's
Mhm.
not.
you're already looking at them half naked with a bikini on. There's really no need for that, and it's really the the coaches being kind of horn dogs or whatever. They need to calm down a little bit, and I have heard of some ladies who prefer female coaches, and I almost think it's like having a female gynecologist. They because the woman gynecologist, for instance, would know more what women go through because they're women themselves. But that's kind of similar situation with, I think, with working with women who are bodybuilders. They know what it's like to be a female bodybuilder and how tough it can be, and they understand your body maybe a little bit better too. So, yeah, but yeah, I just think the guys got to keep their penis in their pants and not not be
Mhm.
a dick like that. And I do know of a couple coaches like that who are real horn dogs like that. And I'm sure, I think they cycle through a lot of female competitors because of that. And I think, like Beverly said, I think they almost need to be maybe shamed a little bit. We can't. I'm not going to name names here, but the athletes can certainly do that and kind of warn their fellow women not to deal with this person, because there's something wrong with them. They're yeah. So, but that's my take on it.
And
The,
Beverly, what you'd like to say?
oh, I was gonna say a few years ago, not naming any names, there was a situation that came out like that. Um, Actually, I didn't personally know the coach or the female athlete, but the female athlete, she vocalized what this male coach was doing. Like it made the internet, Instagram, I mean, everybody saw it. And there was a couple other people that got involved with it. So she told details of what he was doing. The thing of it is, though, at the end, it kind of hurt her because she had females and men competitors almost against her. There were people on her side, but there were people like, well, you made the decision to do that. Like you could have told him no, you could have went with another coach. That also comes into factor when I talk to a lot of females, they say, oh, I want to compete. I tell them financially be able to compete. Because if you don't have the money, but you want to compete so bad, that leaves you in a vulnerable position where if you do get somebody like that, they may decide to tell you, hey, I'll coach you for free if you do XYZ. Or I'll pay for your subs, or I'll pay for your trips, or I'll pay for whatever you need. So that's why I think especially as a female competitor, you need to have your finances together if you want to compete, because a lot of you, especially the younger girls, they don't understand you're not getting paid for this. So why would you put your body through that to be with somebody just for 5 minutes of stage fame?
Mhm. We have
Hmm.
some comments here. Shout out to man, DJ Jeff. He's coming through. He says, "Hey George and gang, see you on Monday. Appreciate that, brother." Also, he says this. All the way, George Page. I will be making an appearance tomorrow. Cool. Appreciate that. Also, he says, "Happy birthday to Mr. Mel Brooks." Mel Brooks is 100 years old today. The man who made Blazing Saddles, High
Wow.
Anxiety.
Oh my
I
Wow.
God.
mean,
Yeah.
he made plenty of great and funny movies. They're supposed to be making Spaceballs 2, supposed to be coming out, I think, this year or next year. We'll see return of Rick Moranis. He hasn't seen acting years since his wife passed. Also, we have here, shout out to my man, DJ says, I'm looking forward to Monday. Yeah, cool. And also, my man here, Black Panther, says, Hi, George. This is Black Panther. Yes, I see that, brother. And also, this is from a man, KL, says, we can hear you. Oh, appreciate that. I was having a little, I thought it was something with me, but it was with Bev. And also, he's, I got it. He's like, man, he says this, he says, leave the man alone with your imaginary girlfriend. You looking crazy. Because I am crazy. I am crazy. Don't you know?
Oh
I
my
felt this shit.
God. Oh my
Bit
God.
by bit. I don't need another man tell me what I need to do. If I want to call a man and touch a my woman, I can call that though. Don't you think? Like I ain't crazy. So and also he says, hi Nicole and David, and also he
Okay.
says hi David, and also shout out to my man here. He says, hello Miss Kennedy, you have a beautiful smile.
Thank
Oh,
you.
Oh,
so back to the subject. Because here's the thing is, was it that long ago we had the whole situation with the Me Too movement, and people like Harvey Weinstein, a lot of other celebrities were called out, Bill Cosby, and other celebrities who were called because they used sex either for, especially Harvey Weinstein, where he used it because he was big in the entertainment industry, and I've heard celebrities talk about it, but bodybuilding is not. Um, it's not how what's the best way to say it? It's not like it doesn't happen in that community because I remember the story. It's a story. I remember this guy. He used to follow this. It was a message board. We used to hang out. We were fan of bodybuilders, and he used to say this. He used to work in sales. So what he used to do was he would travel when the show was on during the time he had to do sales. So he sometimes schedule it around the time we do sales and kicker shows because it'd be bodybuilding fan shows. This was one day he went to a show. I forgot where it was at, and he was like it started really the big movement of no smoking inside. So he likes to smoke, so he had to go around the corner, and he's around the corner, he's smoking. So he hears noise, and he's thinking maybe some animal or something, somebody in the alley. So he creeps around the corner, and he sees this girl, and he recognizes she's one of the bikini girls, and she's doing you know, and he recognizes the man she's doing to is one of the judges,
Oh my
and
God.
Oh, wow.
yeah,
Oh wow.
yeah, and the thing is, just the position she put herself in. At the end of the, when the show was over, she was in top three in the finals, the regional show. So she was top three, but still, I think with the place it was, still can get her closer to nationals. That's the thing is that when men have position and power, they will use that position of power to get what they want or what they desire.
Hmm. Yeah, that's not good. I was curious if y'all know of any situations where a coach has raped a female client. I mean, I'm sure it probably has happened. I personally haven't heard of anything like that, but that's
But
not
the
good.
situation I was talking about earlier, the female, she put it like she was forced to do a lot of stuff that she really didn't want to do, because I think,
Mm,
from if I remember correctly, this coach like paid for all her stuff, and I think she ended up getting overall at the show that she did. So she was like, what young girl doesn't want to end up going to nationals and getting their pro card and doing all? She had all these like everything, all these goals. but she sacrificed herself for that, and yeah, I think he took advantage of her because if he
Mm-hmm.
was a little bit older than she was pretty young and he was older.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember another particular person was talking to this girl, and she said, "That's why I warned y'all about him." And she said, she's warned several girls about this person. But he kind of laid low for a couple of years and kind of popped back out. But I don't think she even competes anymore. I think that did damage to her too, because I I feel like as a woman, maybe some of the females competitors should have maybe kind of took her under the wing and said, "Hey, let's get you with somebody. Let's get you some. If you even if you need, they may not gonna refer therapy, but get somebody that you can get coached under as a female posing coach, kind of reroute her." So I think after she did that and the person was who they were, I think nobody wanted to touch her. I think that was kind of the consensus. So it happens. It's just, it's kind of one of those swept under the rug things.
Yeah, because this thing is that men have position of power, especially in this sport. There's only so many women who are have like a higher up position, even over men. And well, we have somebody who's young and impressionable who feels like if I do this, then I get this.
Yeah.
Like I sometimes I reach out to ladies for interviews and say, "Hey, you want to do an interview?" Say, "Well, let me talk to your coach." I'm like thinking, why you need to talk to your coach for? This is not. This is I know your coach is involved in a good part of your life from your dieting, your training, and everything else, but this is something that's personally about you. Now you can mention when you talk about your coach, you mention during the interview, but the fact is, this has nothing really to do with him. So and sometimes I say, you know what, that's cool, or if you want to coach one, I did an interview with a young lady, and her coach is her boyfriend, and he sat in, and he talks, he was really supportive, you know, um, that's really good. But then that situation where your coach, who is somebody who probably has a wife or a girlfriend, and you mess with somebody else on the side, I mean, that's not a good look.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it's
We
pretty
have
shitty.
here. Hmm?
It's just kind of shitty behavior. Yeah, just it's not good. Yeah.
Yeah. We have here a comment from my man. Shout out to my man here, Black Panther. He's sticking in here. He says, "This is an interesting this topic is interesting. Thank you." Also, he says this. He says, "I've heard stories of how male coaches can be very predatory towards their female clients." Shout out to my man here, KL. He says, "Yeah, I go through that when I was interviewing someone." Yeah, because as I tell you, story, they feel when we feel comfortable about telling something to somebody, and they're not going to run it back and tell somebody else, they'll let you know everything. That's what I learned. Shout out to my man KL. He says also, he says, "Hello, Beverly." He want to get you to this
Hey.
conversation. Also, we got here from a man here, Black Panther coaching must be a business professional relationship. No, romance and friendship allowed. Yeah. And we're hearing from a man, Brown Balding, he says, "You're right, brother, unless it's your spouse. If it isn't, why mess up your bag and your reputation?" And that's true.
Hmm.
Now, as you know, I had a few ladies out here a while back. The ladies who won, they originally were the team of team, for pro, but they have broken up. That is Irene Anderson, Gina Carvalho, and Hel Trino. And they just announced their, finally, they got a name for their company. As you know, it was Team for Pro, but then Irene owns the rights to that. I mean, so now they have a new company, and they are working with, quite a few of the clients are women. So here's they
Yeah.
are as announced, and this is what's shared on Viva Cha Cha.
Yeah, it's kind
No
of cute.
pain, no gain.
Bitches be training.
Bitches.
Muscle Mommy's Fitness.
Muscle mommies, huh? Hmm.
Forks and Dumbbells Fitness.
Got it! The Transformation Company.
Thank you to everyone who sent in your amazing name suggestions. We loved reading every single one.
We did.
But after a bunch of brainstorming ourselves, we actually ended up coming up with our own name.
The Transformation Company.
So we think it's pretty cool. We like it a lot. But we still want to give something back. So our runner-up will receive a DM and you'll get to choose your prize.
And for our athlete chasing the highest level, welcome to Team Transform.
This is just the beginning. Let's transform
together.
Congratulations on the new outlet, Team Transform. As you know, they have quite a few clients. Both of these ladies have over about say 30 years of experience. They're working with Gabby Vega right now, and I think Gina's a really good coach. She worked with your friend Eunice Martinez Kitchens, and the thing is that when you have someone who's a competitor who understands what it takes, the training, the diet that involves in it as a bodybuilder, but then you have somebody else who has that same experience but uses it as a tool to hold over somebody's head. Like, what's your thoughts on that?
Um, I think, I think that's why it's important. And now I know some coaches now are doing contracts. I think maybe it might be a thing of, as a female competitor, if you feel a certain way, maybe you need to enter into a contract with a coach. That'll eliminate. It'll make it more of a professional relationship. I'll say that. I also think the thing of it is, like, the bodybuilding industry is it's you hear about stuff, but then I think people are so scared to really kind of talk about it because people are scared, oh, if I say something then it's going to get back to the judges or it's going to get back to other people, so I'll be blacklisted. But if you don't, if especially if somebody's just sexually assaulting or sexually harassing somebody, you're gonna be part of the problem if you don't say anything. And I just feel like, I don't know. That's just it's just horrible to me that you can be in a position to help somebody, but then you're doing stuff like that. This is bad juju all the way around.
Yeah, I think you're right. You're kind of enabling that coach to continue that bad behavior, and yeah, I agree with you on that. They're almost the whole Me Too movement, which was like what 5 or 6 years ago. Kind of, I thought that was a good thing in some ways because it did kind of wrap up and shame some these guys that are serial, harassers and corn dogs and guys that are just shitheads, But and maybe there needs to be a Me Too movement within bodybuilding too, and to like Beverly said, I like the idea of exposing some of these guys that are, especially the worst of them. They shouldn't really be getting business at all. They should be shamed. So my opinion.
Yeah, and here's the thing about also about Me Too.
I think women they believe that they'll be. Remember how it was before the Me Too movement? No one wanted to say anything. Like I personally dealt with sexual harassment on one when I worked construction years ago. And it was like women were like, you don't want to say anything because then you'll be blamed, you'll get blackballed, you get on the worst job, so you'll have a hard time getting promoted. So that's probably maybe that stigma is in the bodybuilding industry. They probably feel like they're made to feel like if you say something, yeah, it'll get to the wrong person. You'll never turn pro, or if you do turn pro, you'll never get any opportunities. You'll just be blacklisted. No one will ever want to work with you.
Yeah,
which I don't.
true.
I think it'll do the complete opposite. I think they should be exposed, honestly. So hopefully it'll change. These men, or even maybe, and I have heard of women like doing stuff like that, like saying, if a woman's like in a desperate situation, they take full advantage of it because they can. So it's not just men, because women do. I've heard of women doing that too.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So,
that's true. Yeah.
Because it's not like women are above, doing stuff like that because there's, it just don't get talked about as much. And then here's the thing with men, the double standard is like, it's a man, you should be able to push you off. But if this is a woman in a position, what can you do? And when you put in a situation like that, like stories of how if a man is assaulted, because he still gets that feeling because hey, biologically we get excited and we can't control that part of us. That's the difference of it. We have here some comments. Shout out to my man here. Black Panther, he is a fan. You know, he says Miss Beverly is the greatest female bodybuilder. Beautiful
Ah.
smile, a beautiful hug, speak of art.
I'm working on it.
Yeah, also, he says relationships between coach and client must be professional and cordial. Also, respect is involved in the relationship. Never mix business with pleasure and friendship. Shout out to my man Brown Baldy. He says, whatever happened to self control and self respect? Well, you know, sometimes people throw it out the window, especially if you want to get some piece of tail.
Yeah.
Uh, and also, never mix business with pleasure. Uh, never mix. He said the same thing. You know, it says with relationships, it's a hot mess. Yeah, you know, because I used to work at a textile plant with women, and one thing I said, I remember this for the movie, for the TV show Soprano. How Tony Soprano said, like, never shit where you eat, never eat where you shit at.
Mhm.
You know, because you don't want to miss. I remember this is a true story. There was this guy named Chris. He used to work with me. He was a cool cat. He was a young cat, and he was messing with two of the girls that was sewers. And it was the girls started fighting over. Chris was a skinny, lanky kid, but skinny, lanky kids usually can, and that's the thing is, and I worked in where I worked in the environment where I worked around women a lot. And some of the women can try to take advantage of your kindness. You try to, help them out, but then they try to take advantage. I remember a friend told me, said, George, just be careful. But like I said, like most young guys, when I was younger then, if she's pretty, she pays attention to you, then, she can say what she wants to do, what she can do to get you to do something that you may not be right for you. Shout out to my man here, Black Panther. He is a fan. He says, Beverly Kennedy, you are the greatest. Marriage is a wonderful thing. Say also, he says this: set boundaries and very important to make your stand clear. Yeah, because the thing
Yes.
is,
Yes.
yeah, it's true. Uh, what would you say if, especially in the companies like NPC and IBFB, should they get involved in this? Because like a lot of cousin businesses, when you hear so stories and stuff were involving like CEOs and also with employees, they eventually step in because it can affect their business. Like if you hear something like, you remember a while back, a situation with the Mannion family, J.M. Mannion, who is the son of Jim Mannion, where he was, there was a lawsuit because of there were some ladies who were competitors who did some modeling stuff, and the stuff came out, and then that was a big uproar about a couple of years ago.
Yeah, that was in the Washington Post too, and that I was kind of
Oh,
surprised that
wow.
that
Yeah,
Washington Post series never really went anywhere, and a lot of people in bodybuilding really dismissed it. And I felt maybe they felt this was like some outsider influence participating or trying to get people's goat. But I thought it was something really worth investigating. And one thing I really think that NPC and IFBB should consider doing is having like an ombudsman, the person who is kind of like the neutral person to complain to and actually investigates complaints like this. And if it's found out that they're violating policies of NPC or IFBB, then I guess the ultimate would be getting kicked out. You just kick them out of the league. But I really think that something like that could really help protect some of the ladies from these predatory coaches and stuff. But yeah, I just want to throw that out there because a lot of nonprofits and large companies have an ombudsman like
Hmm.
that investigates those kind of complaints.
Yeah, and also, I think like a lot of the ladies that's been in the industry for a minute, kind of be like a peer person too, and talk to the girls that's coming up and say, hey, make sure if you're going to compete that you can afford to compete. That way you won't expose yourself to predatory behavior.
Mm-hmm.
Now, on the flip side of that, you are going to have some girls that are going to do what they do. I mean, when your reputation gets out there, that's on you. Some people don't care. But I just think for the ones that legitimately do not want to go down that road, just like I talk to girls that come to the gym, oh, I want to compete. Okay, make sure you got your money right because there's going to be guys out there that are going to try you. Oh wow, they're like, really? I'm like, yeah, that's like anything. It's even like if you work a job, there are gonna be men on your job that's gonna try you. You're gonna have to be the one at the end of the day to set those boundaries and say no. You're gonna be the one that has to control your body. Nobody else has control over your body. So I mean, some people that's like a foreign language to them. Cause literally some people have never been told that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
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 Currently,
It's,
we have a man who's sitting in the White House, and he's been convicted of, certain things. It's sad that we, I could go into details of this, but this is not the time. But again, it's sad. He has a little hard on for a former president who's a great man who never had any of that shit happen to him. But he's a
yeah.
good man. Shout out to him, man. Black Panther says this. He says sexual harassment is real. It is bad for business. Truthfully,
Mm-hmm.
also shout out to the man, the brown baldy says, whether you are single or not, never mix business with pleasure. You can't control your hormones. You are in the wrong field. And also shout out to the man. He agreed with me, says, I respectfully agree with you, the brown baldy. So, we hadn't had much from, really, from Nicole, who she does deal with a female coach. And I know she has cross paths with ladies who talked about what they went through because women like I said, women feel comfortable with other women, they want to share their story.
Mhm. Yeah, like I said, I've never had that. Yeah, I don't have time. I'm not playing that because I've never dealt with that kind of harassment in bodybuilding, but I said I've dealt with it when I worked construction years ago, and it was before the whole Me Too movement where no, I couldn't say anything. I've literally gotten fired and eliminated from jobs because I spoke up, So like I'm not having it. That's me personally. I
Yeah.
wish, what I'm saying. I wish more female, but my dad raised me, and my dad always told me, it's like, don't take shit from no one.
Exactly.
You
And
know.
yeah, I'm the
Yeah.
same way, Nicole. That's my
Yep.
dad told me that too. He said, "Hey, you got to set
Yeah.
boundaries." But I think now this younger
Mhm.
generation, they don't have that. They don't
Yeah.
have
That's like
those
that.
people
Yep.
coming in talking to them and telling them
Mm-hmm.
don't put up with stuff. My dad flat. I grew up with brothers. My dad flat out told me what guys were like. He was like,
Mm-hmm.
"Hey, men want two things: a
Mm-hmm.
meal and that."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So.
Mm-hmm.
There's days where I think I would like, well, my mom could be a good meal. I remember this is a true story. This is where I used to work at the factory, and a lady came to me and said, "George, son, you live with your mama, son?" I said, "Yes, ma'am, I do." I said, "Well, do what you gotta do as a man, but always come home to your mama." And that's what I did. I did what I did as a man. I came home to my mama because you know what, I get good cooking at her house, and
Yeah.
that's one thing I miss the most. My dad, well, he was in and out. He did his thing, and but still, he was my daddy. Let's give him that. Shout out to my man, Brown Panther says, Black Panthers. I agree with you, David. FB form. Also, he says this is from Obama. Says a lot of these dudes who use the approach need to get in the mindset of what if what that was their sister, their wife, their daughter, etc. They won't like it. They wouldn't like it if the show was on the other foot. She was on the other foot. Yeah, because truthfully, you wouldn't want to do this. You wouldn't want this happen to the women in your life, be it your mother, your sister, your daughter, your wife, a female
Mm-hmm.
cousin you're close to, a niece. I mean, you wouldn't want that to happen to. It's funny how these guys could do this to other women, but you wouldn't want it to happen to your women in your life.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
definitely.
true.
I agree. I
Yeah.
don't know if some of these guys, I think they're narcissists and I don't think they really have a lot of empathy capability, and they're, and like the guy you talked about in the White House, he's like the worst fucking narcissist of all of them. And he's
No respect for anybody. No, and when men do that to women, they don't really respect women. That's just a physical. It's just a physical thing. They could care less.
oh yeah, and I just think he's a terrible role model. I can't believe he got elected president twice, and he thinks he won the fucking 2020 election, and he can't get over that, and
I
it's like
think a
Mm-hmm.
lot of that is just these people out here. He's a businessman and he sold everybody a dream. And people they hang on to whatever he says. He's the ultimate businessman. He knows what to tell and what to say. He plays on what America is dealing with. Everybody that's working class, they're dealing with he doesn't know what working is. So he does have he's so far removed from that. Everybody else, they know what working is like and paying bills. So he's just, ultimate businessman.
No,
Yeah,
no,
we
ultimate
Yeah,
con
yeah,
man.
yeah,
That's what I say is a
Yeah,
ultimate
con.
con
that
man.
too,
Truthfully,
comment for
he
sure.
understands business because his father, his we all know the history of his family. His grandfather came here, so he didn't have to fight in World War I. His father did a lot of dirty shit, so he learned from him and also other people around him.
Mm.
And that's the thing is that people like that don't have empathy and don't understand or care about other people's feelings. They're never going to do it because the fact is they put their feelings before everybody else, even if it's their own family. Shout out to my man Black Panther. He's been sticking in. Says self control needs to be placed to stay away from temptation. Never mix business with pleasure. Also, he says this. He says, Miss Beverly Kennedy, Mrs. Beverly Coleman. You have a beautiful arms of ebony steel.
Thank
I
yeah,
you.
tell, I tell you, man,
uh,
if these guys come on
yeah,
here, I have a woman on here because right now
yeah.
we don't see Nicole. Come on, you can't compliment Nicole if she's here. Say hello,
Yeah.
whatever.
Well,
But anyway,
they can't see me. I'm having a bad hair day.
Oh,
So,
I know
let's
I'm
put
gonna
in
have
the
to get
yeah,
burner.
off here.
yeah,
I'm gonna have to
yeah,
get off here in a minute because I gotta go get
yeah,
mine done. And my mom
yeah.
just texted me. I saw. I was like, "Oh Lord, let
Mhm.
me go check on Millie Mae."
Yeah, I don't worry about that. I think maybe next month I'll get a haircut. We got here from man Bean Bean 221 says every time every type every time I type Beverly Kennedy bodybuilder on YouTube, nothing come up. Well, like I said again, her name is Beverly Coleman. You can probably
Yeah.
find her, but it's just she's just hasn't competed in quite some time. But if you go by her married name, Mrs. Coleman, you probably might find something. Shout out to a man, Black Panthers. When you have a position of business power, you must never pursue a friendship and romantic relationship with coworkers, colleagues, and clients. It's very dangerous. Never mix business with pleasure. Yes, yeah, that's true.
Oh
Also, shout
yeah,
out to
for sure.
shout out to man Emmanuel. He says this. He says, I have heard a coach who has sexually assaulted many female clients. A female competitor did publicly expose him. But like I said, he
Oh,
says this also. However, there is a flip side to it. Competitors did tell me stories of how female clients can act very inappropriate, filthy towards their male coaches as a result. Coaches drop them as a client. That's a smart coach because you know what? You don't want the headache of dealing with somebody who is, if you are working with somebody and they feel like they have a need to push up on you, and hey, you know what? I don't want to mess with my bread. I don't want my career. I watch like something like stuff like on YouTube or I see a guy. He trains a lot of women and he has fun with them. He laughs, he comments. I forget who his name is, but he have fun. But he's professional,
mm.
and that thing is professionalism is very important in this sport because people go by your reputation of who you are as a coach.
oh
Or
yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's for sure. Hey y'all, I'm about to get off. I'm about to go check on my mom. But I enjoyed this. In closing, I'll say this. I personally, again, think I leave it up to the individual because as women, we're responsible to how we respond to things. We are. I think if you do run across a younger competitor, like I said, a lot of people like me and Nicole, we had dads, and the men
Hmm.
told us, "Hey, this is what's up." Some of
Mhm.
these girls don't have that. So that's why when the younger girls come to me talking about competing, I just go ahead and put it out there. Get your money together. There are going to be people that try you. Don't sleep with everybody that you see. I mean, even my husband, for an example, I don't leave in this because we met at the gym. I did not want to date a bodybuilder. I didn't want to have nothing to do with them guys, period, because I saw what they did.
Mm.
He grew on me. I watched him. He told me he watched me for a whole year before he asked me out because he wanted to make sure I wasn't the gym bicycle. Everybody wanted to ride. So, you know,
bicycle.
You've heard
yeah,
that before.
yeah.
Hmm.
I like that.
But I mean, we've been together 10 years, so it worked out. That's a small percentage though, because
Yeah.
I have friends that have dated different guys at a gym circle. Everybody knows, oh, girl there, she done slept with A, B, C, and D. So you have to be careful. You have to know. You know what your limitations are, what you're gonna willing to do. You just have to stand up for yourself.
Yeah.
We have a comment here from a man, Black Panther, because he's a fan of you, Beverly. He says, Mrs. Coleman, you have a wonderful, incredible, hard ripped physique of art, beautiful ripped arms, beautiful brown skin. Stay strong. Just he
Thank
just
you.
gutted
And
your, he
on
just
that
gutted
note,
your.
I'll see y'all later.
All
Bye,
right,
Bye.
see you
Beverly.
later. Thank you for coming through.
Bye.
I wonder
We
if you
have here
could.
my man, Black Panther. He says this. He says, never be afraid to speak up about being sexually harassed in the workplace. Change needs to happen in the workplace in all forms of business.
Mhm.
Also, this is from a man, Emmanuel says, the Me Too movement started 9 years ago. Yeah, I think it was like a good part of the 20 aughts, right about a little before, way before when we hit with the COVID, But yeah,
I
I
wanted
remember
to
a
mention.
while back, they even did it in wrestling. There were some wrestlers that were called out. There was one guy named Joey Ryan. He was called out, but it was one particular situation where it was a situation with him and another female wrestler, where in which she was the one who really, pursued him a little more. But then because she's a woman, they were looking. Some women would take advantage of that Me Too movement stuff.
Mhm.
There was
Yeah.
guys who was getting attacked, but they didn't even do anything because of either they might have said something that wasn't wrong and just pointing out something.
I wanted to mention something real quick, and I was wondering if you might be interested in pulling him up. But you're familiar with Goob, Goob?
Let me see.
I
Let me see
forget
here.
his name now, but Goob 2.0. But he's one of the ones who's actually exposed some of these horn dog coaches, and I forgot about that. He's actually exposed some of the ladies who are frauds too, or I don't know if he's exposed any ladies that have done kind of the reverse sexual harassment. I guess I don't know how you describe that, but he's, yeah. For the folks listening in, I recommend checking him out. Are you familiar with him, George? Or
Yeah,
I can.
yeah, follow him. Yeah, I just pulled him up, and he also remember a while back he called out a lady who competes in, who's a boxer who does a powerlifting. I talked about that because I saw one of Google's videos, and he
Mhm.
also talked about a particular lady who named I did not speak on my channel, because
Mm.
he calls her out. Here it is. That's his name is John Dorsey. He also is a
Oh,
coach and
John
trainer
Dorsey.
himself. He trains coaches. I know even a couple ladies that was one of his clients. He's just talking about this competitor here.
Today we're talking about charity, Buffin Bakery, and poker. And if you love those three things and you're in New York City tonight, June 18th, come and play. Event is the annual Poker for Life tournament that funds the Bucanetti Fund to cure paralysis. We'll be meeting tonight at 6 p.m. at Manhattan Motor Cars. That's in Midtown West. It's on 711 11th Avenue in New York City. It's a great time. It's a charity poker tournament. You're there to drink, eat, have a good time, and donate money to charity. And also, I'm bringing Buffin Bakery Buffins. We're going to have a Buffin table set up. Come and try Buffin if you've never had one. And if you have, come through and have one. Also, I don't mean to flex, but
Yeah. Here is also where he's
He does tend to
exposing.
do that. He'll push his products and stuff.
I can't make this shit up. Paige Hathaway, welcome to the show. I saw it 15 seconds ago. Paige Hathaway, 3.6 million followers. Just wait. So she put it on her story. She's advertising for this waist snatch and bodysuit. And she fucking posted the edited photo and then the unedited photo back to back. She clicked the wrong one in her fucking camera roll. Look at the way.
Yeah. He really, I think this is something I think he really exposes a lot of people. He's even exposed some Ivy pros that remember he was exposing Mabel Ash. She posted something. And he often gets death threats. He gets people who come after him. He's really a stand-up guy. I mean, sometimes
He's
he
kind of an
might
asshole
overdo it
sometimes,
every now and
honestly.
then. Yeah, yeah.
But
And
I kind of admire him too because he's like a shitfluencer. I hadn't even heard that term before until I started watching him. It's like he really is a shitfluencer, but he's he's an interesting guy though. I find. Oh, there's creepy teacher. Did you see that one?
can you teach it?
the actions of a Martin Gonzalez, a math teacher at Rancho Buena Vista's high school. I was contacted by the parent of an underage girl that attends this high school. From what I'm told, the daughter was in Martin Gonzalez's math class, but then asked to be switched to a different class for an incident that happened. The incident occurred in early February when Martin was walking around his class and interrupted a conversation between two young girls. One of them was telling the other about a dream that she had had, and Martin asked her what that dream was. She replied that it wasn't appropriate to tell the class, and Martin replied, two children, by the way, was it a dream about having sex with a monkey, or was it a dream about having a threesome with Kermit the Frog? The child felt uncomfortable. She reported to other teachers, reported to his parents, who then reported to the school. They informed Mr. Gonzalez that he cannot do that and that he is not to speak to the child again, and that they're removing her from his class. It wasn't over, even though they told this grown man making sexual jokes at the expense of a 16-year-old that he is not allowed to contact her and then removed her from his class. He gave a note, he wrote a handwritten note and handed it to a child in the class and asked that child to give this note to the child that he made sexually inappropriate jokes to. This is the note. Please pause to read the note. It reads like a 12-year-old just got broken up with and he's begging for his girlfriend back, which is extremely concerning and creepy. And even though he was told by multiple adults and the parents of the student herself that he is not to contact her, he ends it with, if you need support, you can always come to Math Lab and I will help or avoid whatever you need. Once again, I'm so sorry. I hope that you could forgive me. Brother, they told you to leave this child alone. Why are you passing notes to another child like you are in the high school yourself? Now, the school's been informed and shown this letter, and nothing's happened to Mr. Martin Gonzalez. He, as far as recording this video, and as far as I know, still works there, is still interacting with children, and is still in charge of that class. So if the standard is that your teachers can make sexual comments and jokes to your students, and then once warned about it and having that child removed from the class, continue to reach out and try to speak to them, just say that, guys. Otherwise, you should probably do something about this. All right, guys.
And you got to think about teachers are kind of like teachers and coaches. They interact with children, and I remember when I was younger, there was a situation that happened with it was in our high school. It was with a teacher and a student, and there was a lot of things that was going on. It's just this is where it goes back to, like, if that person had that same situation, like, this is a situation we're talking about as we go along through this, that I think that when you are a person in that situation where you are being approached by somebody that is a position of authority, they should be reporting. Also, the higher ups should be concerned about the safety of not just the students, and also and this goes also with coaches, with other people, because you know what, you never know when this man's going to do something that might get to a point where it's criminal. Right there, he's already at that cusp at it, but you don't want to see this happen to a child, and that's why I think it's important that when you approach a situation that you got to say something. If you can't get help within your schools, like remember the whole thing with Jerry Sandusky years ago at Penn State, and how they did, people always talking about how what's like the head coach, he did something, but the fact was it was up to the school to do something, maybe have an investigation. But schools and positions like that and authority, they don't want to interrupt the reputation of their position or the schools.
Yeah, I do. I think that there's a lot of coaches that take advantage of young girls like that. And this situation we're talking about with bodybuilding, I think is kind of similar in a sense. It's worse, I think, when they're going after young women like that, though, of course. And I don't know. One thing I was just curious if George, whether there is any sexual harassment policies within the IFBB and NPC, or
I don't think so, because this is not like the NBA or the NFL or any kind of real professional sports in which they have these things like like football players and basketball players could date cheerleaders, but they did it anyway because they're hey. But there have been situations where, if you know, the situation happened with the Mannion family, that didn't really come to any kind of fruition or anything. Those women still have to deal with their being victims. Um, it could be something that I will say, if enough women speak on it and say something about it. If you have a judge, as you know, I said it earlier during the live, a judge who's doing this, who is using his position to sway favor with the competitors, you know.
I've actually heard about that happening too, and I actually don't know names on that one, but I do. I've heard that happening, and that's really shitty too.
Because I heard a while back where, if I can pull this up, if I can find it, it was from Discord Muscle. They interviewed a young lady who used to compete. I think she went by, I forgot her name, was it? She went, I forgot her name, but she did compete. I think the last time she competed was back in, was it last year? And she talked about a situation with judging and how, you know, if I can find it, give me a minute. But you know, it's an issue that I think some people are hesitant to talk about because, again, there's a lot of people in position in sport of bodybuilding, and you never know you're going to be in front of this judge, and you know, and how he places you at a show. If I can find it, it's going to take me some time. I saw it some time ago. He gets a lot of stuff. He just posted one thing. I'll probably show maybe later on this week. But oh, here it is. Here it is. All right, and it is. You know, she talks about this. If I give you a second, I'm going to pull it up.
And I was standing right behind her, and you know, her issue was that I guess it took too long for them to announce the winner. I guess they were on stage too long, and she assumed, she was like, I don't understand. You know, she told the judge, I don't understand why we're up there for so long. What were you guys debating? I was told that I was, you know, gonna win regardless. I was told this, I was told that. And the judge told her, he said, word for word, he said, if you come in, I told, you know, X judge, I told X judge, I told this judge, the whole panel saw you on the roster, and we all agreed that if you came in anywhere above your 80% of what you normally come in, you would have won the show, regardless of who else was competing against you.
Yeah.
And he said, but you didn't come in at your 80%. And so he said, another girl that was on stage who we don't really know that much, who normally comes in about 75, came in about 100%. So he said, we kind of had to stall because even though the show was already given to you, you didn't come in at your 80%, you were about 70 and this other girl was at 100. So we didn't really know what to do, and that's why it took so long. So this was the verbiage that he gave to her. And so in that moment, I was like,